Is anybody excited about the snow? Anybody? What do you guys think if after Mass we go out and we make snow angels? What do you think? Don't you think that'd be fun? I think that'd be good. Okay, now I've gotten in trouble with every mother in this place. Well, today's exciting. We've got a baptism and two baptisms, and we have a very happy mother because she had two sons and now she has a daughter, so the guys better look out in that house. As we go through Advent, we're trying to prepare ourselves for the coming of the birth of Christ. And the notion that God is with us is what we want to try to understand and reflect on. Last week we looked at how we hope and pray, and this week we look at how we prepare, which means how are we connected or where are we disconnected. And if we look at our tree from the vine and the branches, which is our theme from the year, the Church of Holy Apostles is a compassionate, welcoming, and healthy family that strives to love God and serve others with respect and dignity. We can serve, but to serve with respect and dignity. It's what connects us or disconnects us with the people we serve. As I was looking at that and I was thinking about, the giving tree, it's something we do every year and something most parishes do. When I first became a pastor, I was out in a parish out in the middle of nowhere. We were so far out the terrorists didn't even know we were there. And when I got there, I experienced a lot of, they looked at me like I had four heads because I came from the suburbs. And every time I'd ask a question, they'd just kind of shake their heads, their hands in their pockets, and they go, "City boy." And so I dared to ask the question, how do we do the giving tree? And so when I asked that question, this gal says to me, "Oh, that's easy. We just give a family to each one of the 12 doctors in the parish, and the wives go by the presents." Really? Oh yeah, it's real easy. We just give up each one of the doctors' wives, gets a family, and they go by the presents. It's a whole new notion of the 12 apostles. And I said, really? She says, yeah. And I said, have you ever thought of maybe letting everybody try? "Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it?" she said. I said, "Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? You wouldn't have to buy all these presents." And she says, "Well, how do we do that?" And I said, "Well, we'll figure it out." And so we started what most people do as a giving tree that year. And everybody was really nervous, but it was kind of exciting because we had them bring their gifts up to the altar. And one weekend, we had these two little brother and sister. They were maybe 3 and 5, and they had a big box, and they were each holding a side of the box. And everyone watched these two walk all the way up to the altar with their box and place it there. And then as we got going, the gal who was one of the doctor's wives who organized it all, she said, "There's a kid who needs a bed." She said, "Can you believe that there's a kid out there without a bed?" And so we figured out how to get a child a bed. And as time went on, the thing grew from 12 families to I don't know how many, because we all did it together. And we looked forward to it, and we enjoyed it, and it became the most important part of our Christmas. See, there's a big difference between doing it and going like this and saying we did it, and being connected. If we looked, when we're connected to Christ and we're all working together, we bear great fruit. If we just look like a good tree but we're not connected, we don't bear fruit. We just get stuff done. How are we connected to each other? This last week, the biggest story in the world has been the death of Nelson Mandela. And it's been kind of interesting if you read stuff online and you look at the different things and people send out different quotes. If you think about Nelson Mandela, he's the guy that united an entire country where whites and blacks were killing each other, full of vengeance and full of anger and not going anywhere fast. And so what did they do? They locked him up for 25 years. And I got this picture from a young man who I had in high school about 10 years ago. And ever since I looked at the quote that he put on with this, it's made me think. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead me to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and my hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. They freed him. And when they freed him, he thought, what am I going to do? If I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Imagine if the leaders of the world left their bitterness and hatred behind. Imagine if the leaders and the people of our church would leave their bitterness and hatred behind. Imagine if the leaders of our communities would leave their bitterness and hatred behind. Imagine if we and our families left our bitterness and hatred behind. Then maybe we could be out of prison.